Welcome. Thank you for joining me at another edition of Cat Calls. I am Kat Vine, music and culture journalist, and on today's program, I will be talking to Justin J. Justin J is a multi-talented DJ, producer, songwriter, singer. This guy is really one of the most colorful characters in the electronic and indie music scene right now. I think most people probably think of him as a DJ, maybe most people who are turning in today, and producer. He got started releasing tracks on Dirtybird when he was just in college, but then he started to explore other parts of his musical talents and interests. And my favorite Justin J tracks are the ones that explore a more classic pop or alternative rock musicality, and we're going to play some of those jams for you today before we get him on the phone. Before we get into it with Justin J, though, I am so excited to welcome Vivian of the Ascendance Sustainable Events Company, Miami's first sustainable event consulting company. Ooh, we switched it up a little bit there. Yeah, autumn vibes in spring. I thought that a little bit of beautiful environmental background would go well with our sustainability preview interview. And as far as I know, Vivian is in the waiting room, waiting to take the call. If you guys want me to call her, yeah, air horn emoji. Drop some phones in the chat. I love seeing phones in the chat while I call the guest. I think we have all seen many videos of what the earth is experiencing and what animals are experiencing while we're all stuck in quarantine, and it's been really eye-opening. There's this great compilation video I saw of sheep running in the streets in Scotland, and wolves have been seen in San Francisco, and all kinds of wildlife are kind of reclaiming the streets as we're busy inside. And I read just yesterday that there's going to be 2.6 billion tons of carbon saved from going out into the atmosphere because of our time inside in quarantine. And that even is only something like 6% of what it would be this year or what it was last year, which is pretty overwhelming. But Vivian has put out a free guide for how events can create a more sustainable practice when we do come back to having concerts and festivals and events on a large scale gatherings. And it's her hope that when we do step back into life as we know it, that we can change the way that we do things so that we can maybe sustain some of these green strides we've made for the environment in our absence. Maybe we don't have to come back full force the way that we were before this all happened a couple of months ago. And I'm going to admit her now. Starting video. Vivian, are you there? Vivian, I see you.
Hi.
Hi, there you are.
Yeah, I love those tropical Miami vibes.
Yes, I love it. I love your, yay, Jamie says yay. So nice to see you. How are you doing today, Vivian?
Yeah, you too. I'm so happy to be chatting with you. Thank you so much again for having me.
Me too, absolutely. I don't know if you were tuned in. You said you might be, but I was just giving a little bit of background about the guide that you put out and the ways that we've seen our environment positively impacted by the coronavirus quarantine that we're all in right now. I'm really excited to get into that guide with you. I know GPS in the chat is going to have the link to share with everyone. But let's kind of start at the beginning. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start Ascendance Sustainable Events Consulting Company?
Absolutely, and I love that you pronounce it Ascendance because that's the exact inspiration behind the name.
Yeah, it's spelled that way. You have to say it that way.
Yeah. So yeah, I am just a huge fan of the music festival scene personally. I've been, involved in it for as long as I can remember, and after a while, it started to not feel good to be out there dancing, having a good time, but kicking around cups and bottles and seeing all this trash everywhere and feeling like, there was just so much impact from things that I was participating in.
Mm-hmm.
And then particularly I started feeling this way when like festivals started moving to these really cool outdoor spaces. You know, people, especially like, you know, I think in my age group, we really wanted to start getting out of the club and going, you know, to really cool places all over the world. And then it got really impactful. It's like, wow, not only are we like, we're not just littering in like a city park, we're littering in like a rainforest or, you know, like near a lake or a river. And so at that point I was just like, I can't do it anymore. I can't stand by this. And I had been involved in the events industry for 13 years by then. I just used to do like regular marketing and production. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna do something myself so that I can help the industry and not just, you know, decide to separate myself, but do something about it. So yeah, that's where it came.
I love that. You have to be the change you want to see in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, as I like to quote the Lorax, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
It's not.
What events were you working with? As I understand it, you met our friend Jamie working at Ultra, so I believe you've worked with Ultra Festival on sustainable initiatives. But yeah, give me a little bit more about your background there.
Yeah, so I was the senior manager of sustainability for Ultra, and I was lucky enough to work there for 2 years. Unfortunately, you know, the 2020 plan didn't come to fruition, but the 2019, I know. But the 2019 did, and it did in such a huge way. I mean, in only 1 year, we were able to reduce 60,000 pounds of waste from our landfill waste. We had 100% acceptance of our recycling. I mean, it was just an incredible story for what we were able to do to kind of turn around, you know, the ship at that point. And on top of that, we had a really significant, you know, kind of pollution prevention and nature preservation program because we were in an environmentally sensitive space. And the park themselves said that they had never seen it cleaner. I mean, they were just like, yeah, we cleaned up stuff that had been there since like the 70s.
That's crazy. Yeah, because that was the year that Ultra was taking place on Virginia Key, so it was a little
exactly
different.
Yeah, and that's different. You know, that's really why it got to, you know, become a priority, right? It's like, okay, now we're really in a spot where we need to really take care of this place, and they did an amazing job of putting a team together that made sure of that.
Yeah, I know. But even before this year was postponed, there was a beach cleanup organized with the community and ticket holders. I'm not quite sure how it tied into who bought a ticket, or maybe someone had a chance to win a ticket. I'm not sure, but that's something that you probably brought about yourself too, right? Were you part of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we worked with this awesome organization locally called Send It for the Sea. They're this group of students that has like just developed this amazing like engagement in the community. I mean, these kids call a beach cleanup and like 400 people show up. It's incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they're super young and they like just started. You know, we have a lot of community cleanup organizations here because we have so many beaches to worry about. But I mean, these guys just started in the last 2 years and all of a sudden they're like the biggest one. So it's really, really cool. We did a ticket giveaway to Ultra, so that kind of helped bring even more people out. And we actually started an art project, which I hope to continue someday. We were collecting like the colorful pieces of plastic, and we were going to turn it into an art installation.
I love that so much. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, it was fun, and we've got all that saved there, so hopefully we can still use it someday.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about the guide that you put together. Is that something that you were already working on pre-quarantine?
Yeah, it was something that I've been working on since I like actually conceived this company, and it's just funny because according to me, I was going to do it, you know, just when I had time on the side, and it's like impossible. Like there's no way I could have done this unless we were forcibly on lockdown and I was having to sit in front of my computer.
Oh, you actually got the thing done that you said, if I only had time to sit at home.
Exactly. I was forced to sit at home and get it done. So yeah, it's been an idea for a long time. I mean, the reason behind it is that, you know, we feel like most people, especially event organizers, they want to do the right thing. They just don't know how, or they don't know where to get started. And so I really just wanted this resource to be out there because, you know, if somebody wants to do something, whether they can hire us or not, I want them to have what they need to at least like get their brains wrapped around it and have some tips that they can do on their own. So there's definitely lots of that in the guide.
Yeah. I think one of the most interesting things, I've actually spoken to a few people who are involved in sustainability in gatherings and events and conferences, and it actually has the potential to save you money. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about how it goes beyond just helping the environment? It's like there's other reasons why this is a good move when you're an event producer.
Definitely. And there's so much of this in the guide. We go through like a whole page on like why, like, and yeah, it can be cost saving. It can be revenue generating even. I mean, I work with another festival here locally, Rockastella.
Rockastella!
That's awesome. Yeah. And we did a reusable cup program for them so that they could just like have an option. We don't want to force it on people, but people have an option to buy a branded reusable cup. They look super cool. They have, the festival branding on it. And then when they buy that cup, they even get a perk. They get a free double, upgrade to a double cup. And then that cup helps reduce waste. So the festival makes money. The festival, has like less waste. The attendees have this cool cup that they get to take home and can, keep as a souvenir forever. So it's win-win. But yeah, there's tons of examples like that of things that can be beneficial all the way around, not to mention how good it is for your reputation in the community. I think that it's just super important to use the platforms that we have as festivals to show that we're doing something, and then to show our attendees that they can do something themselves.
Yeah, and even something as simple as creating a reusable cup that you can give to patrons of your event. That's not something that just has to happen at festivals. That's something that could happen at club concerts or anywhere, really. That can be applied to sporting events. Like, I guess they kind of do that at sporting events and stuff, but
yeah, sometimes, but not all the time, right? And then like there's, it's a really fine line between like what's reusable and what's like, oh, I'm just still gonna throw this away anyway. So there is some thought that goes behind it. But yeah, if you use like a sturdy, cool looking cup, people don't want to throw that away. So that's what we're hoping for, little things like that.
Have you noticed a positive, like what was the landscape like when you were working with events before this happened? It does seem like it's becoming expected and a bit the norm, but I know there's a lot further we still have to go.
Yeah, big time. I mean, there's some festivals that are amazing at it. There's others that are the opposite. I feel like it's still very mixed here. And that's one thing that I love to tell people who care about this but feel like they can't do anything. You absolutely can. You can just start, asking your events like if they, could be into this, thinking about it. I know being from the inside of, multiple festivals, they pay attention to what people say in the comments on their social media and, what they get written in emails. And so if people who are, the actual attendees are talking about this more and more, then I think that that's what's going to help us grow into a situation like you're saying, where this is like more the norm and like everybody's expected to do this.
I like hearing that because I think it does sometimes feel like you're waiting around for these larger organizations to help meet these levels of responsibility that we all should be taking. I mean, I often feel as a consumer and waste producer in my own, like there's so much pressure put on us to make sure we're recycling and composting if we can and trying to reduce our own waste. And of course, if everyone gets involved in those practices, it will make a difference. But it really matters that these bigger companies and organizations get on board with that too. And just like write them, tell them, like they listen.
That's a conversation if that's what we care about, like that's at the end of the day, they're only going to make moves that, that they know are good for their attendees. And so if our attendees are asking these questions and saying, hey, it'd be really cool to do this, or hey, I want to help, then that'd be awesome.
Yeah. What are some ways that we as individuals can be more sustainable in our own lives? I'm sure you must be like the person that follows everyone else in the house turning the lights off and stuff like that, which I also am. But as a bit of an expert, what would you recommend?
So, the most eye-opening thing for me was starting to really, really learn about recycling. Mm-hmm. you know, a lot of us who are, you know, involved in this space, we understand that like recycling is great for certain things, but not great for other things. And it's super, super localized, right? So with me as an example, the street behind me is like on another city limit. And so they recycle differently than what I recycle. So it's really important that you know what recycling facility is like the one that captures your recyclable materials.
Yeah.
And then in that, it makes you realize that really waste reduction is what's most important. So for example, here I thought that we could recycle glass, and I thought that certain plastics were recyclable. So I was like okay with, you know, putting those things in the recycling bin made me feel better. But then I realized that when they go to my recycling facility, none of that stuff is accepted by that facility. And so I had to start getting creative. Like, okay, I'm going to not buy this thing that comes in plastic. I'm going to, you know, use these glass things for, like, I use them as, like, planters or cups or whatever. Like, there's so much random glass in my house.
Yeah. We are reusing so many old, like, cheese containers or anything and turning them into Tupperwares right now. Like everything gets saved and it gets used in some fashion. Bags are covering herbs in the fridge and all kinds of stuff.
All sorts of stuff. So yeah, I mean that's my biggest tip is like get creative with, you know, what you have, these materials that you kind of have no use or no choice but to use, but then see if you have other options for the stuff that you can, you know, like laundry detergent, for example. Instead of getting those huge, you know, plastic bins, they have like the ones that are the pods. They just come in one little container. You know, it's little things like that.
Is that better, pods?
So the pods that I buy, they come in like a paper, it's more of like a paperish material bag. And so the pod is like they're made of like biodegradable stuff. That's why it like breaks down in the water.
That's cool.
And so and mine are like non-toxic and biodegradable.
I love that. Are there brands that you really think people should check out and support? Are there good alternative resource brands we should know about?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the stuff that's available in like most shopping centers is like Myers or Mrs. Myers, Seventh Generation. You know, there's that kind of stuff. But again, like some of it still comes in like plastic containers and stuff. You know, sometimes you really have to get creative. I did hear of this company called Loop Store that does all reusable containers. So you pay a deposit the first time, and then they just send you refills for everything. And there's quite a few, like, you know, there's another one called Public Goods that also, you know, kind of has these refills that you put into your own containers or into, you know, reusable. So I'm going to try something like that.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the hardest part is you go to the store, you have to buy more, whatever it is you have to buy. And unless they've got bulk buy or even when it comes to house products, not just food, it's like, how do you get around the packaging? So that's nice to hear. Thank you for sharing.
Sure,
Definitely look that up. Yeah, please continue to share. Is there anything else that you really want to talk about that you think is important for people to hear, to learn about your experiences?
I mean, I think the main thing is like, you know, realizing, like we were talking about before, that we as the audience are the ones that are actually in a seat of power here because our voices are being heard. And especially right now during this lockdown that we're in, this is the time when event organizers or like even community partners, like everybody is kind of sitting here waiting and re-strategizing, rethinking how they're going to do things in the future. So this is such a key time right now for us to be reaching out to those people or just commenting online and bringing sustainability to, you know, the forefront of the conversation. Because like you mentioned before, you know, we're seeing the environment bounce back quicker than we ever expected. And so let's take this time to really think about how we're going to come back out in the world so that we don't, you know, just completely wipe out all of this progress that we made.
I totally agree. I really do hope that this can be a moment of real reflection and change. And I think it can be, but you're right. It's up to us. We can't just let it go back to normal. Or normal.
Yeah, or whatever that was.
Now, after I get off the phone with you, I will be introducing my next guest, Justin J. I heard you may be a fan of Justin J. You like Justin J?
Definitely. So I'll definitely stay tuned in over here.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for him? Anything you'd really like to know?
Ooh, questions. I guess, what is he working on now? Like, what's going on? What's quarantine like for him?
We're gonna find out. Find out. I know he's got a lot of cool stuff planned. And maybe I can hold him to some green challenge of some kind.
Ooh,
maybe we can
like
inspire green all around the world. All right, thank you so much, Vivian. Ascendance Sustainable Events Company. How can people follow you and learn more about what you're doing?
So we're Ascendance Events on Instagram. That's the main place where we're most active. We have a Facebook page as well, and then the website is greenyourevent.com.
Greenyourevent.com?
Yep.
Awesome, and we've got the guide in the chat. John Marco did it. If you're watching this on YouTube later, it'll be below. Fire green, high vibration says.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
You guys.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye. That was fun, right? Do you guys feel inspired to be greener in your everyday life? I do. I definitely want to look into those reusable companies. I mean, I feel like that's something that we should all adopt if we're able to. Especially while being in quarantine, I've seen a lot of Amazon boxes and Etsy boxes come into our house. Hi, Joel. Nice to see you. Hi, Bearded Jeffrey. Super green. Yeah, I bet over at your household there's a different sort of super green going down. That's emissions friendly, is, maybe just a little bit. Over here in the corner, learning my left and rights, you see a May subscriber goal and a May donation goal. And while we're between interviews, I will just take this time to say thank you so much for watching Cat Calls. I do this every week on Thursdays. But, it takes a lot of time and energy and also money to make this show happen. And I want to continue doing this for the rest of the year, for the year to come next, like way past quarantine, forever and ever. I love doing this. Oh, thank you so much to whoever just subscribed. I love that. Every time you subscribe, I get some money. I split it 50-50 with Twitch. Actually, thank you. Ooh, gift sub. Joel, you're the man. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you are able to get one free subscription a month on Twitch. Thank you so much, everybody. This is so wonderful. And I'm sorry it makes that crazy noise. Last time we had it muted, and this time, I don't know. Yeah, and everything counts. If you don't want to subscribe, I believe even the lowest tier, thank you, is $5. And I know $5 a month is a lot to ask of people, especially right now. No one knows what situation you're in. You could also, hi Kyle, thank you. You could also give a one-time donation via the the tip box below. That goes straight to my PayPal, or if you're feeling frisky, you could send something to me at Venmo at Cat Says Kill. I'm already so thankful. I can't believe that worked so well. Thank you so much to everyone who just subscribed. It really, really means a lot to me. As you know, there's a little bit of lag here. I'm using a 2015 MacBook Air, so one of the first things I want to do in a month or so is buy a more up-to-date computer. That should cut back on the lag. I think so far we're doing all right though. Yeah, tell me what you guys like. If you have any suggestions, there's a suggestion box below if you're watching on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, I do upload all of these interviews to YouTube on Saturdays. Maybe Sunday if I'm feeling lazy and I'm enjoying my weekend. I'll have info below. You can leave a comment for me if you have something you'd like to share, say tips, tricks, critical thoughts. Just, keep it nice, everybody. And also hit me up on Twitter at CatSaysKill and Instagram at CatSaysKill. All right. Enough of that stuff in between. Thank you so much to everyone who just subscribed. I love you. Many muches. Once again, thank you to Vivian of Ascendance Sustainable Events. And now, drum roll please. I'm so excited to get everyone warmed up for Justin J. He's going to be the main interview here in just a few minutes. I first met Justin during Actually, I interviewed him in 2016 for Billboard Dance, where I am a main contributor. He was just getting into doing live performances, and he put this band together called The Fantastic Voyage. A bunch of friends of his from college. I'll let him tell you the story, but I loved his energy right away, and his music is so fun. You'll see for yourself in a minute when I play a song. But I had the pleasure of actually meeting him and his band at Electric Forest 2018. I went both weekends. Yowza, that's an experience. Like, big ups to anyone who can do 2 weekends of a music festival, and that one is 4 days. Like, Electric Forest is one of my favorite festivals ever, but that's hard. That's tough on these old bones. But the week in between, shout out Allie, shout out Brett Blackman, they put together this really cool artist hangout writing space. They rented this house, an Airbnb, and Patlock, Kids Waste, Medicine, Manila Killa, and Golf Clap, and Justin J were all staying there. And Justin J had his whole band, and they had a room that they were using. Hotel Garuda, yes! Zach was there. Zach Schlein, nice to see you. Justin J and his band, The Fantastic Voyage, had a room set up where they were practicing, and they had this really cool thing. They were going to do a cover of Todd Terje's Inspector Norse on weekend 2, and Zach, who just showed up in the chat, and I were lucky enough to watch them practice, and then Jamie, who was in the chat earlier, and I caught them playing it right as they were playing it. We ran up to the set, and it was so magical and awesome, and I actually found these old videos I took of their rehearsal and their ultimate performance, and I edited a cute little clip that's on my Instagram now if you want to check it out at Cat Says Kill again. But ever since then, Justin's been so cool to me. His music has only gotten better, and his experimentation has only become freer and more skillful. He's got 2 labels now that he's running, Fantastic Voyage and a new one called Fantastic Tapes that he's going to tell us all about. And he's leading up to an album called Everything Will Come Together Part 2. Few singles for that out now. Everything Will Come Together Part 1. I interviewed him about that on Billboard Dance as well. I'll share some links. John Marco's got them in the chat later. I'll have them down below if it's YouTube. But for the time being, I want to get this party started with a little music video that just came out. Justin J put this one together for a remix he did of his buddy Benny Bridges' song. The music video perfectly captures his vibe. And as far as I understand it, he made it while in quarantine. So enough of me chatting at you. Shout out Electric Forest. Check out Justin J's remix of Benny Bridges. Take it away, Sam. We are about to welcome Justin J onto the show. Thank you. I see that I've got 7 subscribers. That's so freaking cool. It makes me so happy. You have no idea. So put some phones in the chat if you're ready to get this show back on the road. Get Justin J on the phone. Let's do it. Talk to me about how cool that video was, right? It's so good. It's so good. All right, I'm connecting now. Let's see if he's there. Hello? Managing participants. Justin's trying to be on the screen. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everything going?
Everything's going great, man. We just played your video, the remix with Benny Bridges. It's been in the middle of a couple technical difficulties. I actually had to restart the stream right before I got you on the phone because That's what happens. That's life.
That's what we're all about. You know, rolling with going with the flow.
Exactly.
You've got a very tranquil background behind you.
I do.
And so I don't know. I think things are going great.
Things are going great. Thank you, Justin. How are things going for you?
Everything's going really well. Yeah, I'm in Santa Barbara, California.
Ooh.
The weather's lovely. I'm quarantining, doing a wholesome family quarantine.
Yeah.
And it's everything's going really well. Like, definitely crazy times, but I've been very lucky. And yeah, I can't complain. So things are good.
Good. Did you actually make that music video in quarantine? Was I right in understanding that?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
My parents were super confused why I was just running around by myself. Yeah, and this place we're at, it's pretty strange. It's crazy. We're like in the middle of the mountains, like this very like isolated place that me and my homies, every now and then we would like go here and like retreat into like
Ooh.
the wilderness almost to like make music. And
wilderness.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm just a soft city guy from LA, and dude, you know, just getting out of the traffic. We would come here to make music. It's just a very beautiful, quiet place. Lots of wildlife though. Lots of critters.
Cool.
It's one of the biggest spiders I've ever seen in my life recently.
That's kind of
in my studio. I'm not in my studio spot right now, but there's so many bugs in there, and like it's
Can you sample bugs?
Well, it's funny. There was a lizard that actually went into the studio and was like perched on top of one of my pieces of gear, and he was just chilling for like 30 minutes, and I kept on like Instagramming him, and then he disappeared. Coincidentally, right after I added like this obnoxious flute sound to the song I was working on.
Aww,
so I was like,
he
damn.
doesn't like the flute.
The lizard homie did not like the flute. Or
it's okay, don't trust lizard homie.
Maybe he loved it so much that he danced off somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know.
It was like the Pied Piper, you know? It was like...
Exactly.
Get to that dance floor.
But yeah, so I don't know. Hey, wildlife, nature... These are all great things. You get it. Look at your background.
I know. Well, it's fun because we were just talking to Vivian of Ascendance Sustainable Events. She runs Miami's first sustainable event consulting company. Mm-hmm. And we just talked all about how important the environment is and loving our lizard homies and our dolphin homies. And what are you going to do to make sure you're being kind to the environment when this is all over, Justin?
I don't know. It's hard. Like, in all seriousness, like DJs are bad for the environment with all the flying and stuff. It is. I mean, personally, this period of quarantine has been so dope to just be totally reclusive. In LA, I spend a lot of time driving. That's no good either, but I need to do it to get around town, unfortunately.
I know.
But it's been really nice to, so much time stuck in the car. It's so many other things that are more fun than traffic. And
I'd say most things.
One kind of like funny silver lining to being stuck in traffic, I feel like, is growing up, I listened to a lot of music in the car. Mm-hmm. And so that was definitely had some, formative memories of like music and driving, which that was positive. But I think, dude, I'm definitely hoping to, once quarantine ends, I'm definitely hoping to restructure my schedule so that I can spend more time not in the car. Great for the environment, great for my time management and being able to accomplish more things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and being on the show. I still want you to talk about this remix. It's a remix of a Benny Bridges song, right? And Benny's in your band, right?
He is.
Fantastic Voyage, yeah.
Yes.
How do you know Benny? Tell us about Benny.
I'll give you the whole Benny Bridges story.
Okay.
So, it's so funny. I met Ben, and he had just dropped out of the jazz guitar program at USC, where we were both classmates, and he didn't have a good experience at music school. There was a lot of pressure, and it just wasn't the right fit for him as an artist. And so he actually had a brief journey where he questioned doing music at all and switched majors. And yeah, and when we started doing some music stuff together, it was through our other friend Josh, who is one of the vocalists on Forbidden Dreams.
Forbidden Dreams. That's the name of the song, by the way. Sorry, I didn't say that when I played it.
No, you're good. And it's
Kyle loves you and me too.
Hi,
it's
Kyle.
Not just you,
dude, I need to I can't see any comments. Just keep me
I'll
posted.
I'll shout them out.
Awesome. But yeah, so we started making music together, the three of us, all in my college apartment. Tiny speakers. We were recording, Josh singing in my closet essentially, and
I love
that was the beginning of our thing. And it's funny because Ben told me after the fact, but I kind of thrust him into these situations where he was all of a sudden I was DJing and he was playing guitar, and there were lots of people. One of the third show we ever did was the Do Lab at Coachella.
Wow.
And it was this is all during our senior year of college, or
Wow.
my last semester. Ben was a year below me. Josh, he was senior too. But anyways, Ben got thrust into all this crazy stuff and grappled with kind of imposter syndrome. And let's be, this is my subjective opinion. Ben is an unbelievable musician and was, and I think a lot of us creative people, we grapple with our own self-judgment, and that can be one of the biggest roadblocks in our own journeys. And so he got kind of pushed into all of these things that seemed amazing on paper, but he had the funny thing is, no matter what your reality is, the journey that you have to go through artistically and creatively to come to terms with your own judgment and stuff, you have to do that no matter what is happening on the outside. And it's really cool because I think this EP that Forbidden Dreams is a part of is Ben's a really huge step for Ben in really overcoming his self-judgment, because if you listen to these songs, they're so dope.
Yeah.
And I think for him it was kind of this gradual process of he taught me so much about music and the world of bands and singing and songwriting, and I snuck in a little thing or two about electronic music, what it means to make music on the computer, all the fun stuff you can do. And Ben spent some time making club beats, and some of them were really well received, and it was an exciting journey, but it culminated in him reconnecting with his own voice as a singer-songwriter. And this EP, The Grand Escape, it's a big deal for all of us because we started this new sub-label called Fantastic Tapes, where the concept was, I think we all needed a creative outlet for music that was not meant for DJs and not meant for nightclubs. Because, come on, hey, there's other places to enjoy music, and there's other types of music that don't normally get their time of day in the club, as one would say.
Yeah.
So,
as 50 Cent would say.
Wouldn't recommend saying it that way, but someone could hypothetically say that. So Ben's EP, I feel like the Flaming Lips might be a great reference point for a lot of the music, and it's there's not a lot of four to the floor. There's not a lot of there's no build-ups and drops. It's not that type of music. And I think, so I think that was, once again, kind of this added sort of breakthrough for Ben, is to really allow himself to have that creative freedom, which is so, so important as an artist and can be so scary to seize. And when I heard Forbidden Dreams, the first time I heard it, I just was really moved by the song. And there's something kind of beautiful about it, because the way I met Ben was Josh Taylor had a band called Josh Taylor and the Cozy Boys.
Nice.
And Josh is this amazing singer. He would write songs on the ukulele, and Ben was his supporting guitar player. And that was the context in which we all started working together initially, all being just a bunch of college students. And Josh and Ben, their project was a lot more popular on campus than mine. Jack Johnson, John Mayer vibes, way cooler than obscure
college kids
underground
fucking love
techno
Jack
music.
Johnson.
It's kind of scary. So, but no, what was so cool about this Forbidden Dreams record is, you know, it was kind of Ben's. It was cool to see kind of like Josh supporting Ben and kind of like a little bit of a full circle moment.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really touching song where the story is about, like, you know, the name of the song is Forbidden Dreams. You know, it's like the dreams that, you know, you might not believe you have permission to manifest, or, you know, whatever interpretation you want to put on it. But I think, when I was like, wow, this song's so amazing, and felt like a very deep connection to it, and asked to do a remix, and Ben said, okay. So that was huge for me, being a fan of the song.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I thought so much of the song was perfect. Like, I didn't want to ruin it. And I was like, damn, I don't want, I love this song and just need to kind of feel like I can express myself through it. And I ended up tweaking it just a little bit and ended up singing a third verse. And I don't know, it was just it felt so good. And, you know, I did it when quarantine started, and it's like, you know, I feel like continuing this expression, and I don't normally do what I did in that video, frolicking.
I love it so
in
much.
The grass.
I love when you go to throw your guitar around your neck like a super rock star and it just falls.
Yeah, you know, hey, and that's the spirit here, guys.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you do it right. It just matters that you try.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter if your stream falls apart in the middle before your second interview and you have to start it over. Like, that's just the vibe.
Dude, it's about going for it.
Totally.
And
you've always had. Oh, continue.
One last funny vibe or funny detail. Like, literally last night, I noticed like there was like a coyote frolicking around in the same area that I was, and just like totally doing the same thing. Like, it was just like chilling, and then it would run over here, and then just chill, and then run over there.
That's awesome.
Like, it was just having fun. Maybe it was on the prowl. To me, it seemed like it was just hanging out, having a good time. And I was like, damn, if only I could capture that magic on film and combine it with what I did. And
oh my gosh, the remix of the remix.
But, you know, hey, nature, you know, just whatever.
Nature happens. Nature happens.
And that's beautiful. So shout out to that coyote. So that's Forbidden Dreams, yeah.
I love it. Well, I was going to say, I feel like your whole career has really been colored by this free-spirited DIY approach. You and I had the chance to have a great conversation when Everything Will Come Together Part 1 came out, and we talked about how you put that album together track by track for a Billboard article that I did, links around somewhere. But one of my favorite details about that was that it was the first time you were singing on your own songs, I believe, and you recorded a lot of the vocals on your iPhone?
So, yeah, it's...
The background's going to restart.
Dude, that's great. Dude, yeah, you know, I think the journey that I just articulated about Ben, I went on my own version of that as well. And, you know, for me, it was, you know, coming up as someone who was more known for DJing and making cloud music, which I still have such a strong love for. But yeah, you know, I had this period of time where I just graduated from school and everything on paper seemed so perfect. I was touring and all these amazing things were happening. Yeah,
you released a lot of records with Dirtybird. Right?
Yeah, and a lot of great things were happening, but on the inside, I was feeling all of these crazy things. I was super anxious. I was feeling really lost and confused and a lot of fear, negative emotions, and I couldn't even really untangle it, and it culminated with me canceling a tour, firing a manager, and just needing to, like, reset because things got super overwhelming. And this is as I was like maybe 4.5 years deep in my career of like releasing music and kind of touring, and it all really hit me by surprise. And when I took some time to reset, I ended up realizing that singing and songwriting and live performance were things that I really wanted to explore.
Yeah.
And I felt so much pressure to deliver some sort of polished, perfect thing, and that wasn't really what I was interested in doing, because I would see artists who would do these live shows, and they would need a tour bus for the band and a tour bus for all of the sound and lighting and technical people to make it happen. And while those types of shows are super impressive, I was like, that's not. I want like that feeling of being in a living room with your boys, jamming out. And it's funny because I sent my boys, my bandmates, through the ringer of like doing, when we could be doing the big festival show got canceled.
Oh
and I was
God.
Like, dude, let's play in this backyard for 50 people. And there's like one speaker, and all the cables are going to be soggy with spilled drinks by the end of the show. And
I love that.
And maybe I really, I don't know. I just appreciated that journey of like what it means to play a show in a living room with your boys, with no computers and no lights and nothing that can save you if something goes wrong, and yet still figure out how to do it. And dude, I can send you this video of like it was like I was like 1 year out of college, and Ben was finishing up his senior year, and we played this house party as a band. And it was the first time that I really got the band experience playing all cover songs, like from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God, I want to see this.
More questionable stuff. There's this one, 15-second video that just a snapshot of the craziness. There were probably, 50 people, which is not a big number in the grand scheme of, performances, but it all packed in this living room. People standing on couches.
That's the best vibe.
And it was, dude, it was, the best show I'd ever done. And I think, just that's definitely, I don't know, connecting with that is something that's very near and dear to me.
Totally.
And in the spirit of the DIY stuff. And I felt like, I went on to, I was new to all this stuff. This was my first band. This is my first experience of singing. And when it came to performing, it was kind of like a matter of okay, how can we trick people to even give this a chance? And, which is something I do in DJing. I love DJing because you can trick people to enjoy music they might not have given a chance otherwise.
Totally. That is the best part. I want to hear stuff I haven't heard and go, what the fuck is that?
It's the most satisfying feeling. Yeah. And with that feeling that you just articulated, sometimes you can hear a song by some weird techno ambient thing or whatever, and you hear it on Spotify in your bedroom, and you're like, I don't get it. And then you hear that same song in the right context, in the vibe of that show, and you're like, dude, I get it. And this is your new favorite song.
That's so fucking true. A lot of tracks are meant to be played in a set, mixed.
I mean, our perspective, our experience of music is so malleable based on the environment and the context. It's like, dude, just the way that a song can get, become your new favorite song if you share it with a special person, or maybe the opposite if you have a bad experience with the song. If you had to work out to this one song over and over again, and you're like, I hate this song now.
Sometimes when I set a song for my alarm in the morning, it's because I really love that song, but I can't leave it that way for too long, because then it just becomes this trigger every time I hear it.
It's like our perception is so malleable. Anyways, little tangent, but the way that, my band and my live performance stuff was super scary for me. And when I first started, and so a lot of it, when I first started doing shows, I would be DJing and then sneak in a small mini section of the live performance stuff. Maybe
cool, yeah.
And then that really went a long way for growing my own confidence. But yeah, I think. Flash forward to now, it's I'm very grateful to be able to do performances where singing and live music is the essence of it, and there's no turntables on stage, and then on the flip side, to be able to still DJ, which is such a different experience and feels so different on a artistic level and is fulfilling in different ways. It's like the two are so wonderful. So grateful to have both.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally. I appreciate that you do both as well. And I'm such a fan of the band music.
Yeah, totally.
Do you like that video I posted today of you guys?
Loved it. It's funny. For those that don't know, Kat posted a video of me and my homies preparing a song in a living room, and we then like played it at a big festival that following weekend. But it was funny because I enjoyed seeing the video because, like, dude, when you were in the thick of it, like, we to give the viewers a little bit more context, we were in this like awesome group house with all these creative people. There might have been like a couple dozen people in this big house, and we just hunkered in this like tiny room that was like in the corner
and had like awesome food on the grill too.
Yeah, Danny, our synth player, is really a force in the kitchen, but yeah, it was just like we blacked out for a week trying to prepare a cover of Inspector Norse. We'd never done it before. It's a really amazing song, and we didn't want to ruin it. We wanted to not only like do the song justice, but also like find our way to inject our own personalities into it so that it felt like our own thing in a way, because you can't compete with Todd Terje, or however you pronounce his name.
Terje. I know. I said Terje, Tarje.
Dude, whatever you want. He's Norwegian. I think he's a chill dude.
He's fine.
But yeah, we blacked out and we were just like focused on delivering, on trying to pull a song out of our butt, essentially, for a huge show, Electric Forest. Big crowd, and dude, like I was sadistic. I was like, guys, I believe in us. We can do it. And a lot of rehearsing, a lot of figuring it out, and we got it.
It was so sick. I was so glad I saw it too, like the final version.
That's awesome. And dude, one little element that's like nerdy that is like super cool is like, yeah, the version we play, I think it's a legitimately cool cover where I feel like, like we made all the sounds come from the band. There's nothing like pre-recorded. We don't use the original at all, but we literally figured out the chords, all the melodies, which wasn't that complicated, but there's a nerdy satisfaction that comes with like kind of figuring out how to do a song. And then we like, one aspect of it that's so fun that I love is for our version, our drummer, he has a bunch of electronic drum pads where he can play cool electronic sounds, and we added all these cheesy 80s drum sounds to it, like boo 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 boo, and like all those funny things that fit within the aesthetic of Inspector Norse. And so we'll just break down the whole song. Like, everyone will stop playing, and he'll just do like a drum solo in like the 80s absurd, silly style. And it's like, it's my homies on the synths. Like, Sam will play synth bass, and Danny he'll play like an array of analog synthesizers, and he has all of these bloopy sounds that he's just like experimenting with as Henry's jamming. And my homies, funny enough, like, they do not like jam music. I've not really explored that much jam music. I want to more. I'm curious about it, but they're like, their tastes are in other aspects of, they like, more shoegaze stuff.
But all those things come together in a beautiful synthesis when you have people with different tastes merging. Exactly.
And so anyways, I'm sure most people are like, dude, what is he even talking about?
That's cool. Yeah. Actually, if anyone watching has some favorite jam bands that they want to recommend for Justin to check out, let us know. Maybe this is his chance to get into it.
I want to get further into it so one day I can convince my homies that this amazing
Honestly,
stuff out there.
Electric Forest is the right place for you to debut your jam band.
Totally. It's funny. Anyways, I could talk about this stuff.
Well, why don't you talk a little bit about, not jammy, but some Chicago-style yacht rock that Jeff just got turned on to. The Charities.
Sweet.
Check out the Charities.
Cool.
Everyone go home and check out the charity as soon as this ends.
Yeah, I think one band that I'll plug real quick that is, I don't think they self-identify as a jam band, but I think if you like jam music, you would appreciate them. Thumpasaurus.
Oh, yeah. I've heard you talk about them. I've checked them out because of you, yeah.
Let's go.
They're so good, yeah.
It's pretty much the story there is my homie Henry, who plays drums in my band, he tricked all of the best jazz musicians at our school when we were at college at USC to play the house parties, and so they ended up figuring out how to channel their virtuosity,
yeah,
and channeling it towards getting parties to go, off.
Oh, that's so tight, though. Like, yeah.
And it manifested in kind of this fusion of like funk meets punk rock, because it's like they were playing on like half a broken speaker and like, and these parties were insane, like sweat dripping from the ceilings, like just the most crazy stuff you can imagine.
Seriously,
and,
my favorite.
Yeah, and the vocalist / frontman, singer-songwriter, Lucas, he channels a lot of like the Talking Heads.
Oh, love it.
Sometimes Queen, but he's just like this. He's just from another planet, really.
Yeah.
He's from another planet, and he's not like a trained vocalist, but he just like has so much to say as an artist, and these songs, like one of the most like profound songs that really changed my life in a big way. It's called Mental Karate.
I was watching that today, yeah.
And you're killing it. And so, it's like, that's the power of music, is you can have a song that like really can inspire someone to make, to arm them with new tools to tackle life with. And Mental Karate, the chorus of the song is mental karate, chopping all the bad thoughts, huh? And it's like whenever you have a bad thought, one thing you can do, you can take that bad thought in and let it control your life, or you can use mental karate to chop it. And,
and now you're a chopping champ.
Yeah, and one of those things, when you chop a bad thought, you take away its power, and you can then decide whether or not you want that bad thought to inform your life. And good vibes. California boy, like what? Playing into the stereotypes.
I want to let you know that Kyle said he went and saw Thumpasaurus just because you collabed with them, and it was one of the best shows he's been to.
Dude, that is awesome. Kyle, my only regret is that I didn't see you on the dance floor. Dude,
real quick, since you moved, I want you to show off that sick statue behind your head real quick.
Oh, yeah, I'm in my mom has...
Shut up, Mom!
My mom's
into weird shit. I love it.
Dude, yes. It's, it's funny. I moved this down just because I was trying to avoid questions about my background, but also we prefer a little wholesome.
Oh, I can't see that part of it. Show it to the camera real quick.
Just a wholesome grandparent pic.
So that's almost there, yeah.
I'll leave that in view.
Kyle was front row at your 10:15 show recently, by the way. Shout out Kyle. Kyle's mad supportive.
That's unreal. What a legend.
Yeah. Okay. 10:15 Folsom. That's a place. Sick. I've been there.
Dude, that's great. That's awesome.
San Francisco representing.
Yes.
Listen, I want to hear about... You're working on so many things. I guess because we've been talking about bands and integrating different sounds to experiment, let's talk about the album you're working on right now. Everything Will Come Together Part 2.
Yeah.
Part 1, it is a continuing storyline for anyone out there. Definitely listen to Part 1. I fucking love that album. I'm not just saying it because you're here, Justin. I really love it. It's so good. And I loved getting the story about all the songs from you. There's like so much cute, like, I don't know, maybe I like a girl, maybe she doesn't like me.
Alright,
Everyone can relate to that though. It's so fucking real. And it ends on this like cliffhanger of like maybe something good's gonna happen to me, but I'm not sure. And it also saw you doing so many audible experimentation, trying singing, songwriting, just making jams by yourself on your living room floor. Is that where part 2 kind of picks up and takes off? Like, what kind of production techniques have you been playing with, and does the story have a happy ending?
Let's see. So, I think first off, the album's not done yet. So,
right.
But I'd say, here's like the concept of like the idea of like naming an album, everything will come together. I feel like it's kind of like, hey, in life, like, how can you know that anything will ever 100% totally come together ever?
Yeah.
And I think there's kind of like a leap of faith there, but not in terms of fixating on like the result. It's like, I think, like in the case of like a relationship, for instance, I think like the big idea behind the album that, I'm still in the middle of exploring, I think it's like with if there's someone you have a crush on, I think an aspect for my personal journey has been like, if that person you have a crush on, if them liking you back, is going to be the thing that decides how you feel about yourself. Like, that to me is where it's kind of like the road gets rocky in different ways, you know, in terms of like the pressure on that relationship, and also, what you might have at stake in terms of your own self-worth and your own, just kind of like, I don't know, way of existing. And, I think it's super hard to not be attached to the result if you have a crush on someone, because you are so into them. And I think, the focus for me, I think it's kind of, in many things, I think, it's like with music, professional things, whatever, I think so much of the journey on the outside is really just a reflection of that inward journey. And, I think it's like, I think that, the more that I am kind of like my best self, and the more that I feel that sense of inner completeness and wholeness, which is a difficult thing, and it's a moving target, I think like then it almost kind of, the way it's meant to work out, it will work out, and if it's with a different person, okay. And, I think it's kind of like, it definitely requires like these leaps of faith, which are scary if you're an overthinker, which I am, because I'm like, well, what about this? And what about this? And it's, ultimately, some of that thinking can be counterproductive.
Totally.
And, I think to kind of answer the other points of your question about like concept and stuff, I feel like such a big part of singing and writing songs is just about like getting the feelings out of you, even if you didn't know that they had them. So like on my album Home, which was like an album where I was like super scared about trying to sing for the first time, and like and was like, like I was like everyone's gonna hate this. I was super insecure, and a lot of the songs started like Can't Hang, which is a song that a lot of people kind of have a connection to like that, which blows my mind. That was a song where I was singing into my iPhone, not even aware of what was coming out of my mouth. I was just like, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I want to write a song right now. I was just like, the feelings just had to come out while I was sitting on the floor of my bathroom in a like state of like a like existential crisis. And I think there's, on the part 2 of this album, there's some songs that I wrote in that period of time that I wasn't able to finish. Maybe because of like a production thing, but maybe because part of the personal journey hadn't arrived, and it's like, which I think is that's like the dopest thing about songwriting is like, dude, it's like, it's therapy. Like, think about it. Like, think about the stuff that you feel day to day that you don't get a chance to like say out loud to another person because it's too personal, or
Yeah.
you're worried that maybe they'll judge you for it. I recommend trying your best. It's like trying your best to like find an outlet to get those feelings out, even if it's not verbally, if it's like doing sports or like going for a jog, whatever it is. But we all have energy, feelings, emotions, thoughts that need getting out. You need to get them out. It's part of being human. And I think for me, songwriting was something that really did that. And there are definitely some songs on this part 2 that are like among my more like vulnerable moments that I'm really excited about, and songs that I was like honestly maybe the most scared about showing my friends.
Yeah.
Like, being like, oh God, this is so scary to show you, and it's like I needed to, because I needed some help on like, Ben, can you play some guitar on this, or whatnot, and also just that, I'm a big believer in getting sort of, get outside of your bubble, get outside of your comfort zone,
Totally.
But so there's a lot of vulnerable stuff on this new album, but also I think a lot of collaborations, I think, was like another big part of it. I kind of, on Everything Will Come Together Part 1, many of the songs I wrote and created while on tour, and I would write them like on my laptop for the most part, or kind of like maybe I had some downtime in between shows with the band, and so I was just like I want to do something, and I feel like a lot of it, I felt like I wanted more collaboration, and both within my band and with people that I hadn't collaborated with before, and so there's a couple collaborations with people who I went to college with, who
fun.
I always wanted to make music with, but we never had the time. It's funny because there's just so many people that I met.
Yeah.
I was making music with in school, just because there's great people everywhere you look, and it's just like, do you notice them and do you make the time? And both things can be challenging. But one of the dudes who we've made a song with, it's so funny. He's this rapper named Felly, and he is like, we lived in the same building. He lived upstairs. He would hear my house music. I would hear him rapping and singing, and he totally has like, it's sick. He totally has like he has fans, and people love Felly, and
fuck yeah, Felly! Shout out Felly.
He's got like a totally. I think a lot of people would be really surprised that we would know each other, be friendly, be friends, make music together, and the song is really fun. It's not really rap. It's like he's singing, but it has that sort of touch to it. So he's one, and then just want to shout out these two dudes who have a project called Fabric, spelled with a Q, Fariq, and they're really dope. Their music is crazy. It's like the most insane jazz trained kids making pop music.
Ooh, yeah, love that.
Yeah, and the song we did, their music is like kind of high energy in a way. Reminds me a little bit of like if modern Maroon 5 was like jazzy in a way that was like in a way that was like a little inaccessible,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
Not necessarily like, yeah, it's like jazz that's like challenging.
I like that.
So
I like a good challenge.
Yeah, definitely challenging jazz. But yeah, so that's another collaboration that I'm excited about, and it's it's essentially like an R&B song.
Cool.
So it's like the album is at this point looking pretty eclectic, from stuff that has, that's really coming from a place of like live music to house music, and I don't know, I'm not thinking about the like, oh, it can't be this or it can't be that. I just like indulge in my whims and see what happens, and hopefully people aren't super confused, but if they're a little confused, that's okay too.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion is healthy.
Can't control it.
Everything will have your spice on it. So that's what's going to tie it all together.
Yeah.
That is not to say that you have abandoned house or club music. I know that you have a lot of club music projects that you're working on, and this is a beautiful opportunity to let the world know about Fast Boy 88, which I prepped everyone with a little bit of Party Boy 69 videos at the beginning of the stream.
Oh, jeez. Dude, yeah, it's funny because, well, I think, like, this summer, for instance, I have some of my most, like, whether you want to call it, like, band music or pop music or whatever, that's just not house and techno. And then I have my most, like, underground club music stuff that I've ever put out, gonna drop as well. Like,
hell yeah.
I have this EP coming out on a label called Ovum, which is run by a legendary DJ named Josh Wink.
Yes, Josh Wink.
Super legendary. And a huge honor to get some music signed by that label. And the music is like, for the DJs out there, it's like 135 to 140 BPM techno. There's like, my favorite song on it is this like 140 BPM dub techno record, where it's like, if you don't like that kind of music, it sounds like the same thing is happening for 10 minutes. And it's not relaxing, but it's not aggressive. It's just like, it's, you just got to explore it.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, I'm really stoked on it. And then
how long of a track for 10 minutes? That's epic.
Right. It's music that often doesn't have breakdowns or drops. It just repeats and
love it.
Continues. But anyways, and then this artist named Viers, Viers. I think he's either from the UK or Australia. I should know, but
maybe the accent will give it away.
Right, exactly. I've only heard him speak through his music.
Oh yeah, nice.
But he's super dope. He's put out music on a bunch of insane labels. Like, he put out a release on Malgrab's label, which is called Steel City Dance Discs, and it was like one of my favorite. There was like one song in it that was like one of my favorite songs of like I was on tour for like 3 months in the fall, and it was my favorite song of that tour.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And the coolest thing about this song that he made is it's like really impossible to dance to. It's like, I don't know how you're supposed to dance to it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And the name of the song
time signature weird? Like, is it switching up the rhythm or a lot?
Like the rhythm, there's like, it is very frenetic.
Yeah.
And there's not an easy sort of pulse that you can like, house music's like, you can just do that, you're good. This music, I'll listen to it on my headphones and verbalize what it sounds like.
Oh, sweet. Try to dance.
It's playing, so it's going like this. It's like it has these patterns where it's like it starts off fast and then it kind of slows down.
It's like a rubber ball bouncing or something.
Yeah, like a rubber ball, and sometimes that can be okay with house music because all you do is put a and then it all makes sense. But this song doesn't have the kick drum that's just going like this. So, which if you're like, I'm not a very technical dancer, and for me, this boom, 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 very helpful for telling me what to do. This song, there's no guide rails, and so when I would DJ this song, I know no one knows what the song sounds like.
Well, you just sang it for us as best you can.
Yeah, I tried my best. But so often it also is it's kind of a troll in itself, this song, because it has like a big build up into this like resolution that is not satisfying at all if you like house music. And so I feel like there's two options really. And I talked to Malgrab about this. We met briefly, and I was like, so he played it at the show that I saw him at, his secret project, and I was like, dude, I feel like there's two approaches here. And I told him mine, and I feel like he took the opposite approach, where like it builds up and then you can just go crazy, not even thinking about how you're supposed to dance to it.
Yeah.
The approach I would take, which is more confusing for audience members, is I would it has this big build-up sounding thing, and I'm kind of like teasing the crowd, and then I'll just go like this, and then it drops, and I'll just try and remain as motionless as possible. And there's no logic to it. It's just confusing. And
I love that.
to me, that felt really funny.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But yeah, so to sum it up, lots of underground music that like the people who like my songs will probably hate, and then lots of poppy band songs about my feelings that all of the connoisseurs of, you know, underground club music are going to be offended by.
Yo,
so
keep people
maybe by
guessing.
Maybe by the fall I'll have no fans, and that'll be fine if we're still in quarantine then, because I can just we can keep our Zoom talks going, and
yeah, exactly.
He'll be my friend.
Well, somebody is a fan. Ken Safe. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. I apologize if I butchered it. But Ken says, I saw you went to Berlin a bit ago. Which clubs did you go to, and did that trip influence your music afterwards?
Dude, I had such a defining club experience with Berlin, but it was very counterintuitive. So one of my friends, we went to school together. He lives in Berlin, goes to Berghain every other week. He's total cool guy.
Yeah.
So he was like, dude, let me dress you up, and he put me in this outfit.
What was it?
Like
Please explain the
white
outfit.
White jumpsuit. He was like, shave your beard. I shaved into something like this, mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of listened to him, did whatever he said.
Yeah.
Roll up to the club. It's 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Damn, going to church.
So it's like we're doing like every move in the playbook according to this homie. We did, and then I got rejected,
no.
as did he. And so I met up with this. It was funny because I was talking to this artist named Vonda Seven, who's a homie of mine, and we'd met up the night before to work on some music, and I was like, yo, dude, like, if I don't get into Berghain, like, let's make some music. And then I was totally thinking of the classic Nile Rodgers story about the song Le Freak, which is like, freak out.
Yeah.
That song was written when Nile Rodgers didn't get accepted into Studio 54.
Shut up.
New Year's Eve, it was like a packed night.
What?
He's Nile Rodgers, like, they're playing his music, like, in the club. He gets rejected.
Are you joking? This is a great story.
Nightclubs suck. Like, it's just elitism, whether it's cool guy elitism or bottle service elitism.
Yeah.
Like, let's all have some fun together. Fire code, I guess that's safety, so.
Right, yeah. Fire codes don't suck, but, like.
Yeah.
You get in.
Yeah, and maybe for Nile Rodgers, maybe it was a capacity issue. I wasn't there. I don't know, but regardless, he went home. He and all his homies, bandmates. It was New Year's Eve, and they went into their hotel room, and were so angry that they started playing their instruments. And the song that they came up with was "Fuck Off." Fuck Studio 54. And that was like the original idea. It was just them venting their frustrations.
That's so great.
So, yeah, I got to kick it with Vonda Seven. She's a super dope producer. And we had our own little version of that where I got to laugh at the Berlin, rejection. Really.
Glitterati police or whatever. I don't know.
Right, exactly. And I went to one other club when I was there. It was really dope. Griesmühle, I think it's...
Griesmühle?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. I think it just shut down, unfortunately.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It was really cool. The party was super mellow. Lone, the party was Lone, DJ House, and Katama. Some people say Kedama. I don't know how to say his name, but...
one of these things sounds like another.
Yeah, it was a really dope party. DJ House and Lone played back-to-back. There were like 20 people there, and it was just nice. I just enjoyed the music.
Cool.
But most of my time in Berlin was like trying to make as much music as I could. I kicked it with this dude Cody Curry, made some stuff with him. He's really talented, really gifted at keys. He's a great piano player. That was super fun, and Berlin was really dope. But I didn't get the classic, like, go to Berlin and experience something totally insane music-wise. that would have been my trip to Bergheim, but I missed it.
Next time.
But whatevs.
Kyle says Grease
more
Mila is
good
great, and you should check out Kit Kat next time you're in Berlin. Check out.
Yeah,
Kit
I've heard
Kat.
Kit Kat's super dope, so I appreciate that. Yeah. I wasn't there long enough. That was a big takeaway. But Berlin,
I've never been. I really need to go.
It was really dope, and for me, even just being in the city and the people that I was with were amazing, and just I ate so much kebab. There's so much kebab, and it's 24/7, and it's everywhere. Like one corner, 5 different options. I tried, and now I know which ones are the most beloved in the city. So thanks to some of my friends. So,
is that track you mentioned actually out yet?
No, it's called 9.
9, nice, perfect.
So yeah, you can get. I think just keep your eye out on it.
Dope.
Yeah, but
you were
expression, art, love it.
You were also telling me you have an EP coming out on Patrick Topping's label?
Yes, that's right. It's probably the silliest music I've ever made. And
which is saying something at this point in your career.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that was the same trip as the Berlin trip. It was just a week prior. I pretty much went to Europe I got asked to do one show, and it was like a secret show because I didn't have a visa. It was just like a homie show in like the back room of a thing. But the main point, my sister had a thing in Europe, and I was like, I'll visit my sister and try and just make a bunch of music with people that I've been talking to on the internet.
Hell yeah.
And one of the dudes who I had been talking to is this guy, Elliot Adamson. And he had just put out an EP on my label, Fantastic Voyage, under his alias $1 Million Man.
Nice.
And yeah, it's awesome. Really, really dope. And Elliot is like this eccentric dude from Newcastle, which is in the northern part of the UK, a tiny bit south of Scotland.
You might have heard of its beer.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, Newcastle, it was super dope. This kid, Elliot, he's, I don't know, like a couple years younger than me. He just invited this hairy stranger to sleep on his couch for 3 nights, and we made 3 songs. It was like an action-packed time, and the main song that on this EP is called Send It. And so this artist named Big Miz, who's an artist on Dixon Avenue Basement Jams and a bunch of other labels. He was doing a show in Newcastle, and this is my first night in. I didn't sleep on the plane. I'd been up for like 24 hours, and now instead of going straight to bed, I was getting dragged to a club.
Hell yeah.
But hardly dragged because I was a big fan of Big Miz. And so we just got after it. Not really partying, but just like went out and heard some awesome music. And Big Miz came back to Elliot's apartment after the show, and a late night studio session ensued. And Elliot was just like, send it. And so I don't know. I got on the mic, turned it into a chipmunk voice.
Oh, yes.
Send it from the front, send it from the back. Let me see you send it, and I'll send it right back. It's like the stupidest. If you think about it, it's the stupidest lyric of all time. I rhyme back and back.
With back, yeah.
Which is a very safe rhyme, but pretty dumb. But yeah, so and it's just the stupidest song. We made it in a night. It's very much inspired by the awesome ghetto tech and juke music of Chicago and Detroit. And it's super dope because DJ Dion, who's an absolute legend from Chicago for this kind of music, he did a remix.
Oh my god!
So, yeah, and we're honored that he wasn't offended by our stupidity, really. And it's funny because he was saying making each other laugh is a big part of his approach to making music. So that was really cool to hear from such a legend.
That is cool. DJ Slizzard says, Chi-Town stand up.
Oh, Slizzard's in the mix. Let's go. Yo, okay, DJ Slizzard, real quick.
Yeah.
Super sick DJ from Chicago. Named Liz. She doesn't actually DJ, but she is a DJ. And in my eyes.
Sick.
And the other day,
Fuck
yeah, Kat, we were just talking about this. There was a lizard in my studio, and so I was the whole time I was just thinking about DJ Slizzard and just how like
Slizzard is LMAOing in the chat.
So.
So.
Yeah, Liz, I can't see the chat, girl. I have no idea what you're saying. So
she says I love you. She says she loves you.
She's the funniest person.
That's so awesome. You must get to just meet. It's obviously you get to meet the most wonderful, colorful, crazy folks in your travels, and I'm so glad that you incorporate so many of them into what you're doing, because that is like the time capsule of your life. That is gonna be like how you remember all this shit when it's
for real. It's so true. Like, I mean, first off, it's like in high school and most of college, music was like my biggest obsession. It was like I was obsessed. It was like I couldn't get enough of it, and most of my friends did not like the same music as me, and I couldn't. Most of my close homies, like in those periods of time, I could not share my passion with directly. It was like me like trying to like, yo, check this out, maybe. And now a lot of them are a lot more into it.
Yeah.
But
well, you've shown them the way.
But I think throughout, I would make new friends purely off of music because we had the same tastes, and whether it was like the bass player in my band, Sam, was like the popular dude in high school, and I was the shy, not so popular dude. Just did my own thing. I was a nerd, and it was sick. But he was super cool, and we became DJ partners my junior year of high school because he liked all the same weird techno and stuff that I was into.
Cool.
And then in college, I had a whole group of friends that were like the kids who were down to ditch the frat parties. Even though frat parties are, if that's what you want, go for it. Now frat parties play house music, which is trippy. But
I know, right?
I was like interested in going to all the amazing warehouse parties in LA and seeing people like everyone from like Axel Bowman to like Nicholas Jar to Ian Pooley, and like that would have been like in 1 month in LA. Yeah. Like there's just so many awesome things that are always happening in the warehouse scene, minus coronavirus. But
I know. One day.
But thankfully, all the best parties were very small and very intimate. But I think most of the people in those times of me beginning to put out music on Dirtybird, which was like 9 years ago, like when I was like a freshman in college.
So crazy.
I was like 18 going to these warehouse parties, and the only people who would come with me were like the cool senior kids who were young to be going to these parties, because we'd go and everyone was in their like, early 40s, mid to late 30s. And it's like, because it just was not cool. It was not like hip or trendy to be into house music at that time.
Yeah.
And I felt like I connected with so many people purely because of the music, and still feel that way very strongly, where like, I feel like there's a lot of people who I don't meet through the adventures, and then like we'll become real friends and stuff. Slizzard being one of them. Let's go.
Yes. Everyone remember to hydrate. I have to hydrate during the show. Sorry, everyone take a sip of water. There you go. Yes, hydrate. Let's have a little cheers.
Cheers.
Bop.
Don't spell on your computer.
Oh my god, no. I definitely have a little thing over my keyboard.
Smart.
If anyone else wants to shout out questions, we're getting more cheers. If anyone wants to shout out any questions for Justin, let us know. Now is a proper time to drop any more questions.
Yeah, ask away.
Is there anything else, though, that you wanted to shout out? I mean, clearly you're staying busy in quarantine. You're, you've got so much stuff that you already did in your travels, but is there anything else that you want to shout out? Are you doing any live streams? Are you doing anything like that?
Live streams have been tricky for me. My internet connection in my like area where I have my DJ stuff is like horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm working on getting an Ethernet cable to
nice.
So Well, TBD, but I think, I don't know, dude, like live streams, I'm getting used to them. I did one live stream that was so fun. I did it back to back with Ben.
Ooh.
Where we were just like joking with each other and like trying to troll each other basically. Like, just, I don't know. You'll get it. We'll do it again and it was really fun. But I think that sort of format I like because honestly, when I DJ, such a big part of it is like the energy of like the environment and the music that I will, if you let me just do my own thing without any sort of care of how you feel about the music, like no promises. You're not.
Yeah, right. It might be stuff you can't dance to. It might be 167 BPM.
It might be like the cheesiest pop song that's like my guilty pleasure that you are mortally offended by. Like, I recently downloaded it's not a great song, but it's a great song. I downloaded everyone's gonna judge me because this isn't even there's like trendy cheesy like ooh, like that song's actually cool. I downloaded. I can't wait. Yeah, like an example of that is "Fly Like a Bird" by Nelly Furtado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that song's like unabashedly amazing.
Fly away.
Ben played it at the end of a B2B at an after party at Crossed, and it's like "Fly like a bird," like or "I'm like a bird." Sorry.
Yeah. That's an awesome track to drop.
It's a banger in a weird way. Like the drums are huge and the production's sick, and it's an unbelievably touching song. So that's a cool one. But I downloaded what's it called by Katy Perry, "This Friday Night."
Oh, last Friday night. And she had Rebecca Black in the video because it was
like that song is not a good song in many people's eyes, I'm sure, but I felt a connection to it. I'm exploring it. I'm still like learning about my relationship with this song.
I love that.
I don't know. There's something about it that resonated, and I'm not questioning it. And so it's kind of like, in the context of DJing, I have like an intuition of like how far I can push it, and sometimes I'm not always right. But that's a song that like I think that would be a hard song to play out the gate, or like if I but I think I could.
Yeah, right. Just start your set with that.
See, it's kind of like it's the same issue that that Veer song that I was telling you about. That's super weird. If I can trick someone to enjoy that song, it's the same sort of scale and dynamics that plays if I can make someone appreciate that Katy Perry song. And dude, no knock against Katy Perry, like Roar, unreal song. Like I will put my neck out on the line for that song. That song's great.
It is great. I have to agree. I think that you should test yourself and challenge yourself to create a mix while in quarantine that can connect that Veer song to Friday Night by Katy Perry and see if you can create that fucking
also this is super funny in line with that. So I was super lucky. I got to close out a stage at Cross Festival in San Diego.
So beautiful.
Super fun, super huge honor, big fan of the festival. And Billboard like gave me a shout out. And I was like hugely honored. But I ended up posting like the headline that had my name in it and then rewriting all of the copy on a very obvious like Instagram it's like you can tell when someone just puts Instagram text on top of it, obscuring the original text.
That's amazing.
And what the commentary that I wanted to make on this performance was that the concept was I'd say the style was bar mitzvah Berghain.
Yes.
Juxtaposing, the deep, forward-thinking experimental club records that we love or that we don't even know that we love with all of the songs that we danced to when we were like in middle school, whether middle school was like, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, 50 Cent, Outkast, middle school is kind of this chapter that I think a lot of people can relate to in different ways.
It's true.
Positive, negative.
I remember a lot of Ja Rule at my middle school experience.
That's sick. And so, yeah, I don't know, dude, it's kind of something that this whole idea of like, and it's like not even playing remixes of those songs. Like the most fun I'm having right now has gotten to the point of like, dude, just play the original and play something crazy at the same time, or like in between, and see what happens. And yeah, like me and my boys, we've just started doing that a lot as a way of like making each other laugh, honestly. Because it's just funny. And I think also, I think, we judge a lot of music, whether it's super weird because we don't get it or because it's poppy. And it's just, if you hear a song over and over and over again, you will not like it. It's like, it's just, if you hear anything too much, you will be annoyed by it. Like, no, even if it's your favorite song, you will get burned out if you listen to it 5 times every day for the next 20 years. Like, you're not, talk to me if it works, because, like, that might be the best time, or you might be crazy. But, and it's just like, I think a lot of pop music from that period of time I didn't like because I was a contrarian or whatever.
Totally.
Being jaded. And
at
I was
the
like,
time.
you know what? It's actually some of this stuff. It's a song by song thing. This song resonates with me. Last Friday night. The chorus, I'm still, like, the menage a trois thing is so contrived.
Yeah,
like, she didn't need to write that. But I'm going to listen to it for a quick sec while we're talking.
I love it. Well, I'm glad to hear this. You're already on this vibe. I love this vibe, because...
And just want to say, like, I paused it already, but, like, the moment those guitars come in, and in the first verse, it's like, there's, like, this, it's like, I can see that Katy Perry, there was, like, she's channeling this, like, that feeling of, like, I don't know. I'm thinking like the last couple weeks of high school.
Oh, yes.
Where you're having fun and you're done with finals and you're so happy, but you're also sad because like it's the end is near and there's like that bittersweet quality to it.
I love it.
That's the feeling that I get from that song, and it's sick. So if anyone wants,
when are you going to start your critic career? Whenever you're ready, I think you're ready.
See, but I wouldn't be a good critic because I'd probably try and find the silver lining of everything. And
being a critic doesn't mean you have to hate it. It just means you're making a critical analysis, and that's what you're doing right now, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, hey, there's always something you can find that's not bad in something.
Totally.
Hopefully.
And I feel more now than ever after this conversation that like what defines you as an artist is just a complete unwillingness to accept that some sort of barrier exists between styles and genres and tempos. Like you clearly are someone who just is going to do it all. You're going to welcome it all. You're going to find room for all of it on the dance floor, and I really appreciate that.
That fires me up. And yes, people will be confused at times. People will be disappointed at times. That sucks. But, I think in terms of, like, being able to, I'd say, like, on a very serious note, like, making music and it can be really vulnerable and scary, and it can be hard work when you're stressing out about like, oh my God, all these things, and working on a song for 40 hours, and you still are grappling with whether you like it or not. There can be aspects to making music that are a bit challenging, and if you're grappling with those things while doing something that you don't really want to be doing, that makes it way harder.
Yeah.
For me, at least, it's like if I'm going to go through the emotional roller coaster of making music. If I can at least be making the stuff that I feel like making in that moment, whether it's writing a song at the piano or making a weird experimental ambient thing, like, dude, I'm just gonna do it, and maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. If it comes out, maybe people will like it, maybe not. And I don't know. I've definitely done a lot of like think about the marketing and the business side of things later, and I think there's artists who can say, this project is this kind of music, and it's going to sound and look like this, and then they do it, and it works for them, but that's not really me, and I think, if I just make enough stuff, then hopefully, oh, wow, these 3 techno songs actually work together, even though I made them all at very different times and made songs at the piano in between all of them. You know, so for me, I think like in terms of like career development and stuff, you can think about these things if you want to, but I would say think about them later. Have fun making music when you are literally in front of your computer making music or at the piano or whatever, because then you'll have the most fun and hopefully get the best results. And if you don't like the results, at least you had a moment where you were not censoring yourself or restricting your whims, because
totally.
A lot of our time is spent kind of like, I can't say this or I can't do this. I have to do this. I have to act this way, be this way. And music, dude, use that time to like be whatever it is you want to be. Angry, happy, sad, silly, serious. It's all you. So do it.
That's so beautiful. I love that as a place to take a pause. Thank you so much for joining me, Justin. Before I go, or I make you go, I'm going to play that Fantastic Tapes video that you sent my way. Will you explain what this video is that I'm going to play in a few minutes?
Absolutely. So kind of like we were talking earlier, Ben went on this journey with his own kind of self-judgment and self-censorship, really. And this EP embodies his willingness to just do whatever it is he feels in the moment. And, all the songs are quite different. And it's all within the world of like, rock, live, indie, psych, shoegaze, whatever stuff like it. I think it all kind of fits in that space. More importantly, it is not for DJing. It's not for dancing or club. You can dance to it, but it's not house music or anything like that. And it is the first EP on our new sub-label called Fantastic Tapes, which is an outlet for all of the music we make that doesn't fit for clubs and DJs. And with each EP, we've been doing the aspirations to do a small run of cassettes, and Ben made a small number of cassettes for this EP. And so this video is like a little teaser showing that the cassettes are real and the songs are really cool. And so, thank you before you get into it, Kat, thank you for having me, for asking great questions.
Thank you.
Just, being the homie, dude.
Yeah.
Like, look at this nature juxtaposition with the cool haircut. Like, damn, let's go.
Thank you so much. All the same stuff. I had so much fun talking to you today, and anytime you're welcome back on. Thank you for supporting my little project by coming on board.
Much love. And shout out to all the homies. From what I hear, there's like 3 people.
Yeah.
I love every one of you. If there's others, that's cool too, but like, whatever. So,
my friend Jake just said hi. Hi to Jake.
Sick. What up?
Thank you so much, Justin.
Much love. All right, Kat, I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day. Rest of your day.
Also, do I leave this Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Awesome. Vibes. Vivian says thank you.
Bye, Vivian.
Bye. Oh, that was fun. Oh, now you guys see the weird way that it looks when it's just when I hang up the Zoom meeting. Thank you so much again to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for rocking with me through some technical difficulties. As I said, this is the 5th episode I've done, and I will only continue to do cat calls. Yes, please don't forget to subscribe if you do like the project and you would like to support me in buying a new computer so it won't be so laggy, or a microphone in the future, or just support the project because I'm putting a lot of my own time and energy into doing this because I love it, and I love talking to these artists like Justin, and I love talking to people like Vivian who are doing amazing things. Please feel free, subscribe, support. If $5 a month, the lowest subscription tier, is too much for you, which I totally understand given what everyone is going through right now, you can make a one-time donation, press the tip button on my Twitch page. It goes right to my PayPal, or you could hit me up on Venmo at Cat Says Kill. If you liked things about the show today that was the first time I've tried using a split screen. Previously I had a little box corner. Did you guys like the split screen? Do you prefer the corner? Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at Cat Says Kill. Hit me up on Instagram at Cat Says Kill. If you're watching this on YouTube later, let me know in the comments. And split screen gang. Okay, thank you, Slizzard. That's one vote for split screen. Any other comments? I do post all of these on YouTube on Saturdays, and if you go to my YouTube right now, you search for Cat Calls, you'll find interviews with Gary Richards, Jubilee, Drulu, DJ Craze, and this weekend you'll have Justin J. And remember, check out Ascendance Sustainable Events. You can get the free guide for how your next event can be more sustainable. Link is in the chat. Link will be below on YouTube. Jamie is saying one more vote for split screen. Okay, good. I'm glad to see that. And, this video that Ben made that Justin just explained to us, it's a bit short. So when it's done, I'm going to play a video visualizer that they made for Justin's song, I Know You're Out There, from Everything Will Come Together Part 1. And that way we can have a little bit of a dance party together. Thank you so much for coming through Cat Calls. I love all of you. I want to hear from you. Who do you want to see as a guest in the future? Next Thursday, we're going to have Jay Wara come through. I'm so excited to talk to her. And the week after that, we're going to have Apache. That dude's latest album is crazy. He works with like a 61-piece orchestra on it. You should definitely check it out. And I happen to know there's even more exciting things coming. So please let me know what you think. Let me know how I can make this better for you, and enjoy this inspirational video about fantastic tapes.